Bleacher Report put out the most overlooked players at every position in the 2023 draft. I want to run through these guys, and then I want to tell you where I have them. And as far as overlooked and stuff like that, they haven't done by positions. Help me here, Wolchuk, if you would, if you've seen some of these cats. I just want to run through them, and then I'll go through where I have them.
Meow.
Tanner McKee, the quarterback from Stanford, is a guy as the most overlooked quarterback in this draft.
Oh,
I'll tell you where I think about Tanner McKee when this is all said and done.
At all.
Running back Roschon Johnson from Texas.
Okay.
There you go. Overlooked player by the Bleacher Report guys here. Jonathan Mingo, who is visiting our own Dallas Cowboys here coming up.
Barkevius' brother?
I don't think there's any relation.
No relation at all.
That's good because Barkevius was
not very good.
Certified bust.
Yeah, it was a bust. Jonathan Mingo, Ole Miss wide receiver, big guy. Then you have Sam Laporta, the tight end from Iowa.
Okay.
As a possibility. Blake Freeland, the BYU offensive tackle, is a guy on this list for the offensive lineman. And then you've got Keanu Benton, a defensive tackle from Wisconsin, would be a guy that they have as
not if you listen to the draft show.
Not at all.
He's gotten praise from day one.
Day one. BJ Ojulari was another guy that was an edge rusher that's overlooked.
He is. Nobody talks about BJ Ojulari.
Okay, well, let me get through these guys, and we'll talk about him for a second. They got outside line, off-ball linebacker Daiyan Henley from Washington State is the off-ball linebacker, and then cornerback Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. We've talked about him a ton.
Big crush on him.
Big crush on him. And safety Jamie Robinson from Florida State. Okay, of the guys that I mentioned, of those players that we talked about here, that they're overrated, these are my favorite players coming out of the group. I've talked a bunch about Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State. I think he's 166 pounds. I have him as a second-round grade on my board. Okay, so I don't think he's overlooked in my eyes at all.
Agreed.
Edge rusher BJ Ojulari would be the next guy that I'm stacking them for you guys right now is how I'm doing this. BJ Ojulari, the edge from LSU, I also have a second-round grade on right now for him. Do you want to say anything about him?
I think look, if you took him in the first round, like if the Cowboys took him at 26, I wouldn't be upset about it. Like, I think he's very fringe. I think second round is the grade that I have on him.
Sure.
But if you took him at the bottom of the first, where you're probably out of first-round grades, I'd be totally fine with it. He's quick off the ball. He's got fast hands. He's always working. He gets several sacks just by the motor.
Right.
Just by keeping playing. He never quits. Big fan of his. I think he's a high-motor player, and he played against elite competition, gave offensive tackles fits.
Okay. Keanu Benton would be my next guy as I rank. I've got a third-round grade on him. Henley, the linebacker from Washington State. This would be one of my pet cats. If you ask me a pet cat guy, Daiyan Henley from Washington State.
Dan Henley?
Daiyan Henley.
I wanted it to be Don so bad.
No, it's like Daiyan Henley.
Daiyan Henley, Daiyan Henley. Third-round grade. Mingo, the wide receiver from Ole Miss, I have in the third round as well. He's one of the bigger guys that you'll have in this draft as far as the height.
Yeah.
Most of the other guys are kind of short. Third-round grade on him. Sam Laporta, a lot of people say this might be the best tight end in the draft when it's all said and done. Got him in the fourth round myself, though. I see others I kind of like better that we've talked about a bunch.
I did too, and I'm kind of banking on maybe it was the offense that he played in that made me not like him.
Roschon Johnson I have as the next guy as a fourth-round grade on him.
I got a third on him.
Okay, you're a little bit higher on him, which is fine. He's a really good football player. Jamie Robinson, Florida State, the safety I have in the fifth round.
Okay.
And then the last two guys, Blake Freeland, the tackle from BYU. I think he's too tall. I don't think he's strong enough. Fifth-round grade on him. And then Tanner McKee, this quarterback from Stanford, I feel like that if you drafted him, that guy is such a project right now. And I don't think the skills there. I don't think the ability to make plays is there. I kind of feel like that he was a highly touted, scouted player, but I think he is so far from being an NFL-ready quarterback that even if you took him in the fifth round or so, I don't think he would see the field for quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he's very good. I think he throws the football like a shot put.
He pushes the ball.
Yeah, he does.
So again, Forbes, Ojulari, Benton, Henley, Mingo. Those would be the guys that I would kind of look at as my top guys for right now. Out of that list of the guys that are not talked about, they say nearly enough. But if you listen to the draft show or with me and Bobby talking about him, we talk about him quite a bit.
This is kind of building off of what the Jim Nagy's tweet was. Wolchuk mentioned it earlier. We frequently see 4 to 5 wideouts in mocks. Have spoken to numerous teams that only have one first-round grade at the position. That is Jackson Smith and Jigba of DFW. And you guys are hearing that his visit was not an official 30 visit. It was a Dallas Day visit?
Yeah, it's a Dallas Day. And the difference is when you do the Dallas Day stuff or when you come in for it or that kind of a visit, you pay your own way. So if it was an official visit, the Cowboys would have flown him in, but he was here in town. Maybe visiting family and all that. So he's back here on his own dime, and they can make it a local visit that way.
Yeah, it's a benefit that the Cowboys have that I don't think, and other teams probably do, but we have just such a ridiculous talent pool in our own backyard here in DFW. Like even Drew Sanders, potential first rounder out of Arkansas, went to Denton Ryan. I mean, there's so many guys, Christian Gonzalez, the Colony, that technically the Cowboys don't have to spend 30 visits on them. People might think they are, but they can get a free visit as a local day visit.
Well, that's a huge edge. It really is to be in such a football hotbed like this. And, hopefully Smith and Jigba falls to you at 26 and you could, run the card up there and take him. But that would be a shock, right? That would be a bigger surprise than CeeDee Lamb getting to 19. Smith and Jigba to 26.
Yeah, I do think there is something to, okay, if there's only going to be one receiver, you might have the rest of the receivers available for you. I mean, if nobody wants to reach on a receiver that they got graded as a second-round guy,
I kind of feel like
you might have all the receivers other than him available.
I just feel there might be one guy. It might be the one of the top guys. Like I say, if it's Addison or I think the first receiver myself, the Houston pick. The second Houston pick. 12. That seems to be where that receiver, that might be the first one. And now you're kind of, okay.
Do you like the other players that come after him at 26?
No, absolutely.
It wouldn't be that big of a reach?
To me, I feel like, though, I've got 3 on my board. Addison, Smith, and Jigba, and Johnston. My guys.
Okay, a fifth-year option exercise rate for each position. How would this impact how you're looking at the draft? The position that has the most fifth-round options picked up, it's not even close, guys. It's tight end at 87.5%. That means after 3 or 4 years, this is going great. We're picking up the fifth-year option. They've only been picked like 8 times in the last 10 drafts that qualify, but 87.5% of the time they get picked up. Defensive tackle, 72. It drops quickly. Cornerback, 68. Safety and tackle are tied at 64%. Only 2/3 of first-round offensive tackles are really successful enough that you want to keep them around. Quarterbacks at 61. Centers at 60. Guards, 56. Wide receiver, 55. Edge is 54. And then you get back to the running back position at 38.5%. So how would that inform any decision you guys are prepared to make at 26?
It just shows it's not an exact science in the first round, right? But it's one thing that I think benefits tight end when there's so many that are crying and saying, hey, don't take a tight end in the first round. How many of the elite guys were taken early? How many of these first round receiver or tight ends panned out? Barnwell just did an article on ESPN about the positions and which ones in the playoffs last year were first round picks. You had 3 first round running backs. The majority of the other 8 teams ended up taking from round 2 through 4. Tight end, 0. 0 teams in the playoffs last year had a first-round tight end. I just think this is such a unique year when it comes to tight end, and it's also a down year at receiver, as we just talked about. That's why you're getting the conversation of you could have multiple tight ends selected in the first.
It is unique that tight ends even get taken in the first round. It's amongst the least picked players in the first round is tight end. But when guys have legit grades, their floor is really, really high. The bust factor is, 12%? And that's damn good value if you can protect yourself from that scenario.
I'll tell you one thing, too, about these. When you look at the wide receivers and fifth-year options and stuff like that, CeeDee Lamb's is about to be a big jump when you look if you pick up that fifth-year option because he's made 2 Pro Bowls. That factors in to your fifth-year option. You get a significant bump in pay. The fact that he's made 2 Pro Bowls now makes it, I want to say, darn near $18 million for that fifth-year option.
Cha-ching. All right.
Interesting nugget there.